Yo, how's it going everyone? Or if I was Obi-Wan, what is going on everybody? Your boy Obi-Wan here. That's not the Nintendo Obi-Wan, that's the Obi-Wan from the Nintendo YouTube channel. Yeah, I've been watching his stuff. I'm a Nintendo fan. Look, anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about all things Nintendo. Hi Obi-Wan, if you're watching, you probably aren't. Yeah, check it out if you're a Nintendo fan. Anyway, I've been keeping up with NX stuff. It's the only other thing I will buy next year. Big expensive thing other than RC stuff will be that new Nintendo. Anyway, back on topic, Mike, damn it. I have a couple of cars here today. We had a disastrous day yesterday with the RCs. It was me and Matthew. We had the lunch boxes. What else did we have? We had a couple of touring cars. We had the Charisma M40S with the Volkswagen Golf body shell. What else do we have? Oh, we had the short course trucks, the H by Blitz and the Lossy XXX SCT, but there was not enough. There wasn't good enough conditions really. Unlike DJ Medic in Canada, you know, when he has winter, he has beautiful, you know, beautiful dry snow just evenly spread across the land. It looks stunning, and you can use his trucks and things, and they sit on top of the snow and all the rest of it. We're in Britain, in Scotland particularly, for me anyway, we get slush and sleet and wet snow and just combined it with rain and mud, and it's just, things are just ugh. Anyway, so we spent ages trying to fix Matthew's servo saver on his Charisma because it had too much play, so it would never, like the steering wheels, the front wheels would steer left and then they wouldn't come back to medium. In central it would go up to about there, and then obviously it would crab this way, well not crab, it would turn this way, and then same thing with right, turn like that, it would come up to here and it would go, you couldn't keep it centered, there was always, yeah, it's no good. I'm sure a lot of people have experienced that, but anyway, we sorted that, and then I was going to use my Tamiya, but for some reason my Tamiya motor wasn't getting up to speed really. You know, if you pick up a car like this, here's my Tamiya TT-01E, and then give it throttle, it should go wah straight away, like no really delay from 0 to 100% throttle, just go wah. But this was more like it was a marine speed controller or something on it. It was right, but not as slow as that, but you get the picture. And then it wasn't revving particularly high, so it could be the motor, but I've got a funny feeling it's this old speed controller going. I'll just show you my Tamiya actually, because I know a lot of people are into their Tamiyas, especially Tamiyas. This is the TT-01E that I have had for a few years. The speed controller there is an old LRP Runner, which is the same as a Nosran Tomahawk 16 ton. I didn't like having this speed controller in the car anyway, if I'm honest, because with me I used to do the racing, you know, proper racing, and now I do sort of amateur racing just for fun with the touring cars. To me, touring cars shouldn't have a reverse, it should be all forward and then braking and stuff. That's just my preference, so that I was going to swap that out anyway. The motor is one of these old Revenge of the Monster Pros, which I love, stock motor, 27 ton, 40 megahertz system. But in terms of upgrades, you can see, possibly, let's see if I can get the camera in on it, it might be too dark. There is a blue anodized main center shaft in there. I'm not sure, there you go, you can see it, but I don't know if you can see the blue colour. We also have Schumacher oil-filled shocks all round, because I hated the fact that the standard car came with friction shocks. That's always something you should chop out, I think. I don't like friction shocks. I was also fully ball raced, ball bearings throughout. That's another thing that you should never really build a Tamiya kit with plastic bushings. You've got to get your ball bearing set. They should really include them, if I'm honest. I've got what they call swing shafts all round. The drive shafts in here and here, here and here, but they're just CV drive shafts is what they are. Steel drive shafts. I've got adjustable upper links all round to adjust the camber. I have it set at 1 degree negative, just for your information. And I've got ball bearing diffs. I think it's 3 Racing or Yeah Racing that do them. I know that Yeah Racing do the drive shafts and 3 Racing do the diffs, or vice versa. But anyway, so it's quite a high spec TT-01. But like I said, the motor's not running right. The other car is the other problematic car I've had was, this is my RS4 Rally, HPI RS4 Rally with the General Lee body shell. I've converted this to just rear wheel drive, so it's got the rear belt there still intact, the rear diff still intact, but it has no front belt at all. There's nothing in here, and it has no front diff, and it has no front drive shafts, so you can spin them freely. See, now I've got some awesome looking off-road sort of rally tyres on it, because I was wanting to have it sort of slide, you know, like like only doing Dukes of Hazzard, you know, power sliding and all the rest of it, and doing some jumps and things. But anyway, I've yet to try it in proper good conditions. We took it out yesterday and it worked well for about 30 seconds. It was really quick, but then it locked up, and I can still smell it now, but the smoke was pouring out of this motor. This is a Trinity P2K2 Pro, which is kind of the predecessor to the Revenge of the Monster Pro in there. Still very quick for a 27 turn brush motor, but if you see here, if I try and move the spur like that, like I can't move it at all. The motor's absolutely seized solid, so I'm going to have to take this apart and figure out what's wrong. It probably needs, I'll definitely rebuild, but I probably need rebrushed and reskimmed as well. I hope I don't need to get another motor, but we'll see. Yeah, so it's a bit of maintenance to do. Not great. And then we did take out the launch boxes, and we were going to make a video, but the footage was shocking. It was so bad. You know, it was just slushy ice, and the cars were just sort of slowly spinning around. You're like, wow, that's interesting. And playing lunchbox TIG, playing TIG with lunchboxes especially, right? Any TIG, any RC car can be entertaining. You know, you crash in TIG, you're off ski, the next person chases you. But because of the conditions, and it was really not very good. And then the steering on Matthew's lunchbox, one thing you have to do when you're building a lunchbox is you need to use thread lock on the 2 screws that come from the servo saver, because they always work their way loose, or the Midnight Pumpkin. But he hasn't, and they've come loose, so he'll need to do it again. The only positive point yesterday is Matthew fell in a puddle, so yeah, not good. But anyway, I'm going to crack on with these, see if we can work out what's going on with these things. Alright, hopefully I can solve the problem. Right, Tamiya first. You can see I've got it propped up on a couple of Terry Pratchett novels. I've got the transmitter on. I've got it plugged into the battery, which is an Overlander 3250 2-cell LiPo. Now, as you know, if you're into RC, if I hit full throttle on my transmitter right now, that should go like basically bang, burst of power. But you can hear and that should be, you know, that's progressive. That should be instant bang, burst of power. But also it's not revving high at all. That sounds like a crawler or something. So something's seriously wrong. Now, in case I need to take the motor out, I have my tools laid out already. I've got my screwdriver set, I've got my Allen key set here for hex hardware, but I don't actually need it for this car, because annoyingly Tamiya stick with a crosshead, so you need a Phillips screwdriver. I just got these out here because I stored my screwdriver set in that, but anyway, that's not a problem. An old ratchet set I've had since I was about 15. And a cup of coffee, which is all the tools you need. But I'm hoping I won't need to take the motor out, because I was going to change this speed controller out anyway, the LRP Runner, as I said. So I'm going to swap that out first, and if I don't need to take the motor out, all good. Yeah. Okay, so that is our Schottky diode. It gets attached to the two plates on the motor. Now, there's a grey stripe on the top of the dial there. That means positive. You must get your polarity correct. So positive on this has to go on the positive plate on this motor. Absolutely critical. Now these are usually soldered on, but luckily, you know, as a Jedi, I can just use the Force, like so. Oh. There we are, sorted. Right, well, I need to recharge all my Force powers, so I'll use the soldering iron for this part. What I need to do is solder up the cables to this speed controller. Now, it's more difficult than a lot of them. You have battery negative goes here, battery positive goes here, and then motor negative and positive are shared over these two, which means you put the battery ones, or at least I'm going to put the battery one on the top, and the motor one, there is a gap if you take some of the solder off, slide it in there. Yeah, let's just get cracking with it. First things first is the battery. Right, this last bit will be easier to solder if the speed controller is in the car. So, speed controller, double sided tape, stick that on there. Not very good here because I don't have very good nails. Come on. Come on. Oh, almost. Yo, right. That way. And a firm press. There you go, firm. Okay, with that all done, it's just a case of programming this new speed controller. It's plugged in already. It's beautifully simple to do this. I've got a transmitter on, and I'm crashing into the car. Right, dead simple, dead simple. You press and hold the power button, which is also the setup button. Full speed, press. Full brakes, press. Sorted. Now, let's see, do we have speed? No, we do not. So, after all that, the motor is to blame. Or maybe the radio gear, but probably the motor, because the speed controller is now different and it's still the same symptoms. Well, I wanted to change that one anyway, so it wasn't a complete bust. But it means I'm going to have to take the whole car apart. Ugh. Right, you know what? I'm going to have another coffee for this. Sake, man. Oh yes. Ah, it's in the way. Never mind. It's good. It's good. Absolutely shot. Right. To get the top, well, first of all, the top deck off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws, and then it's the case to take these covers off. It's not a particularly strenuous job, this one. Lift off now, but it isn't. Oh, there we go. It's just a bit awkward. Still clean in there, shows it is sealed properly. There we are. I've got a proper, that's another upgrade I forgot to mention, Robinson Racing steel pinion, because the one that came with the car is tragic. Actually, I don't even need to take that off really, unless I can't get in at the, no, can't get in at the grub screw to take the pinion out, so I will have to take that off. Alright, so I'll have to use my Allen keys after all. What size is that? I'm guessing the red one. It's always the red one. Always the red one. It's the red one. Right, now this is more awkward now because I've soldered this stupid motor on, haven't I? Yeah, more Phillips, that's cool. That is cool. There we go. Right, what we're looking at. You take that out, this is the commutator, this thing. Now, this motor may be at the end of its life. You can see the end of the commutator, I wonder if it'll focus. It's very burnt. It's actually misshapen as well. I could try and use the lathe to skim that down, but there's not much metal left on that. The brushes will be in a similar situation. Yeah, they're very short. The brushes are burnt away. I think I will try and rescue this. There isn't much life left in it, but there's a little bit, and I like these motors a lot. So I'll skim it with the lathe, rebrush it, and we'll see how we get on with it. It might work yet, we don't know. Only one way to find out. Okay, for anybody who hasn't seen a commutator lathe before, here it is here. What you have essentially is a slow motor. This is a 55 turn, and that spins this belt, which spins this shaft. Okay, turn it on. It's plugged into an old battery. Now, what you then do is this belt here goes over there, and you put this commutator from the motor on there. The belt goes around there, so that spins, spinning this, spinning that, spinning the commutator, like that. And here we have a blade right there. It's got a very sharp tip on it, diamond tip. And you basically use these to move it. And you want to just touch it so it takes the surface off as it's spinning. Then you want to move it all the way across very slowly, back and forward. Take all the burn away until you scrape the way to the newer surface below. Obviously that then takes metal off, layers off, and then it gets thinner and thinner and thinner every time you use it. There's not much metal left on this commutator anyway, so this will be the last ever skim this motor has. And then it'll be useless and I'll need to go in the bin, which is a shame because I love these motors. And naturally after you've skimmed it, you don't put the old brushes back in. They're burnt too short anyway, they won't reach. But you put some new brushes in it, and the motor should go well for its last lease of life. Well, it turns out, folks, that this motor, the Revenge of the Monster Pro that I had in the Tamiya, is no more. What I thought was just burn on the end of the commutator turns out not to be just burn, because you always get the black sooty burn on it. But if you look closely here, wonder how close the camera can focus, that isn't all burn, that's actually the black surface below the copper. So there's so little left on it that it's actually gone beyond what you can physically reach. Okay, see the copper shine on it? That's what you should always have in contact with the brushes. The black below is not conductive. It might be conductive, I don't know if it's metal or not, but anyway, it's not some sort of compound, I believe. The point is, it has to be copper on there for this to work, and more than like just you know, it needs to be a few mil thick. So it turns out this motor was more badly damaged than I originally thought. So that one's going in the bin. Means I need to obviously I need to desolder the Schottky diode and the two cables from the can on the end, or the cap on the end. So yeah, use a different motor. I'll have to see what I've got in stock. Oh well, c'est la vie. Man, what a lot of mucking around. Okay, what I've now gone for is this Team Orion Core Touring, which is a 14 turn double. I just need to rebuild the top of the chassis and give it a test. Right, let's crack on. So the first things first is the spur cover. Put that right back where it came from. And it should seal up nicely. There it is. Beauty of that is the motor mount can't physically move when that's flush, so you know it's all lined up properly. Means you have very few choices when it comes to gearing this car, however. But I think it's more aimed at the novice, you know, rather than a top end touring car that has loads of gearing options. I mean, you still have adjustment, you get different spurs and stuff, I'm sure. Right then, are we finally at the end? Well, let's test it. I'm going to reprogram the ESC again. Not that you have to, I've only changed the motor. Programming it binds the ESC to the transmitter, but there's no harm in doing it anyway, and you know, it only takes a few seconds. It's a habit of mine to reprogram it on a motor change. Sorted. Right, moment of truth. Now that's more like it. Oh yes. Oh yes. That'll be a lot quicker as well, because the 14 double will make mincemeat out of the 27 turn. Let's see. Don't have any grip with these T27s on a wooden floor, but yep. Awesome. Right. I was going to make this a dual video with the two cars, with the RS4 Rally as well, but the Tamiya took so long, we're going to have to just call it a night. It's gotten late already. Yeah, we'll call it a night, and I'll do the RS4 another time. So if you're a fan of HPI or you have a Rally RS4 Rally, then tune in next time. In fact, you know what, tune in next time anyway. It's a good idea. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah, and maybe the fruits of my labour will be shown when the weather improves, which will be never. Anyway, cheers.